Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with Bill Lenahan, who is president of Premier Worldwide Marketing, which is the worldwide representative for Karisma Hotels and Resorts. And I'm sure many of you out there know Karisma for all of its many great all-inclusive brands. And we wanted to talk to Bill about the state of the all-inclusive business right now, especially his resorts, and talk about Karisma now as we hopefully emerge from the pandemic. And you're going to find out about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. Bill, first of all, how are you and where are you? You look like you're on the beach there. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I'd love to be there.
I'm happy to be a part of Karisma and Premier Worldwide Marketing. I'm actually at my home residence in Atlanta. I also have a place at our office in Miami and frequently travel down to our resorts in the Caribbean and in Mexico.
Yeah, well, you have a great collection down there. And can you remind us a little bit about Karisma Hotels and Resorts, what it includes? What are the brands in its portfolio, and how many properties do you have now? Because I know you're always expanding in the Caribbean and Mexico.
We are expanding. We're a 20-year-old or 20-year young company. Next year, we celebrate our 20th anniversary. We're primarily in Mexico, Cancun area. And we're also in the Caribbean with some expansion plans, both in Mexico as well as in Cap Cana and Punta Cana. We have some wonderful brands within them. Are Margaritaville, Nickelodeon.
That's one of your newest, right? Yeah.
That's one of our newest. And it's Margaritaville Island Reserved. It's the first and only five-star, all-inclusive, or as we call it, gourmet inclusive, world-class gourmet inclusive offerings. In addition to that, we have the Nickelodeon Punta Cana Resort, which by the end of next year will be twice its size.
Wow.
Also, by the end of next year, we're going to be opening up our second Nickelodeon Resort and Aqua Park, and that will be in Riviera Maya. Scheduled to open sometime in June.
Yeah, and I was actually down there a few years ago, and I could see where the construction was going on, and it was right next to the Generations, I believe. So
it is, and it's going to be an amazing resort with a agua park that is going to rival a Disney-like experience, but it'd be all Nickelodeon. So very, very anxious to have that open. An incredible resort. We're also opening up a couple of new Margaritaville Island Reserves, one in Cap Cana.
Right.
That will be opening in early Q4 of next year, and another in Riviera Maya, also in construction. So you take those along with our Generations you had mentioned, James, which is part of our El Dorado brand of family.
Yeah, I've been there. Beautiful resorts. They're all together there, yeah.
Right. So altogether, this time next year, we will be twice the size, of which half of it will be all brand new inventory.
Yeah, it seems like Margaritaville and that brand, and then Nickelodeon. That's the new stuff right now, because you began with other brands like Azul and obviously El Dorado, which were your two big brands, and then you've added on different ones over the years like Generations and things like that. So it is really a great product, and now you're expanding even more. What are the differences in these brands, would you say?
This year we've been really concentrated on accentuating those differences. And that's why we've recently rebranded Karisma, because as Karisma has a wonderful collection of brands, they offer different types of vacation experiences,
right.
And we're accentuating the differences in those vacation experiences. In fact, our latest campaign for Karisma is Vacation Like You Dream It. And however you dream it, if it's one that is a family vacation with children, then we've got a great experience with Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. If it's adults-only vacation, then of course El Dorado, where we've been repositioning El Dorado to accentuate what makes El Dorado really special is this authenticity And the campaign is Fall in Love with the Real Mexico, because we bring that. Whereas when you look at our competitive set, they bring their brands to Mexico. And yet El Dorado is the epitome of Mexican vacations in the Riviera Maya, right? When you look at Margaritaville Island Reserve, it's a newer, more modern experience, but in a laid-back casualness, and yet it still has a 5-star quality. And that's Margaritaville Island Reserve. And then when you look at Azul Beach really allows us to bring the best of experiences. You take, for example, our Azul Beach resort in Negril, Jamaica. It's in the middle of 7 Mile Beach. In fact, we've got 1 mile of that 7 Mile beach.
And that's a beautiful beach.
It's the world's most beautiful sunsets, right? So that's what Azul Beach brings, the world's best beach experiences.
Yeah. And I've been on Azul, the beautiful resorts, absolutely. El Dorado, we were talking before we started about, that's where you have your overwater bungalows at one of the El Dorados. So it is really a gorgeous property. Now, you started talking about the rebranding of Karisma itself, because even though we in the trade and you also in terms of trying to promote when you're doing your gourmet, all-inclusive, all this type of stuff, you have used the brand Karisma, but there are actually no resorts called Karisma. But this is kind of the umbrella brand, and you just relaunched your website, and you had obviously the new brand identity, the new tagline. You're putting more focus on Karisma at this point, right?
We're putting more focus on Karisma bringing wonderful brands for vacation experiences. But I would really say, James, the focus is on the brands,
right?
And accentuating what the brands have to offer. Karisma has the collection of brands. And I think in the vacation, the vacation travel in hotels and resorts, Karisma is extremely unique in that nobody else has our portfolio of brands or our variety of vacation experiences.
No, absolutely. And indeed, with the trade, at least with my readers, travel advisors, Karisma is actually a great brand, because they know you have all these other the brands that can satisfy all their different types of customers. So
Correct.
I think that's everybody talks about it, and you have conferences and recognition events for travel advisors, and it's always the Karisma brand that's identified there. And then on top of that, we were talking earlier about gourmet all-inclusive, and now you're kind of augmenting that with a new kind of, you're calling it world-class gourmet inclusive. Let's talk a little bit about what's changed with that program and why it's different from what you've been offering.
Sure. When Gourmet Inclusive was first innovative concept to really mean something different than a all-inclusive with different tiers to price up for more premium liquor and so forth. We came up with Gourmet Inclusive. And what Gourmet Inclusive meant was having a gourmet quality of food experience without needing to have a trade up or buy up. Well, now we've recognized that true travel and what consumers really look for in a destination resort is that all of their needs to be satisfied in that one destination, and that includes variety. So world-class Gourmet Inclusive really takes our variety and makes it world-class from flavors from around the world, as well as different cultures that are brought into those deliveries. There's a lot of our restaurants and dining experiences are a la carte. And of course, we do have at every one of our resorts one assisted food display. And the assisted food display is a really bountiful experience of different types of food. But it's not buffet. It's presented in such an elegant way, and it's all assisted service as well. So talk about a lot of hands-on service or attention from our staff directly to the consumer. World-class gourmet inclusive is not just food and beverage. It also includes other things such as how we go about serving at the property, the day beds on the beach. The mini bars are no longer in some of our locations, such as our Margaritavilles. The mini bars are stocked the way you want to stock them, because you go to our Joe Merchant shop, which is really a wonderful delicatessen style display of foods and snacks and treats, and stock up to bring back to your room however you would like.
No, that's a great concept. And of course, as we know, the concept of buffets, sadly, with the COVID pandemic is really gone away. And it is the assisted serving. And I've seen that now in several places. It's a great option, a great way to get around this because, people just don't want buffets anymore. I personally, I'd like buffets, but I think going forward, we probably see less and less of that if we see it at all. It's that they're there to help you. I was on an all-inclusive recently, and I tried to get something at a buffet, and they didn't quite slap my hand, but they said, "No, sir, I will take that." That was just for show. I had to go and tell them that's what I want, and so that was fine. It worked out nicely. So that's great to hear that you are really augmenting and growing this world-class gourmet inclusive program into a new level. It sounds like.
Without question, we are. And, the notion about walking up to a buffet has really changed, because when you look and think back at going to buffets, the most appealing part of it is the food presentation or being prepared right in front of you. Right. So we now have more prep stations. So that's more of the assisted. So everything is extremely fresh. It's a la carte, fresh for everything, including our food displays.
No, that's great. Now, I've always wondered, the gourmet all inclusive, now the world class gourmet all inclusive, does that apply to all of your brands or just to certain ones?
It applies to all of our brands. Okay. Now, at some of our brands, there may be a little bit of a difference in the service. For example, in El Dorado's, our in-room bars are stocked the same way, or however you would request if you're one of our travel club members. Whereas at Margaritaville, Island Reserve, it's really stocked by what you choose to select at Joe Merchant's, which is really a great concept.
No, that's great. And so now let's talk a little bit about how you've had to maybe pivot or make some changes because of the coronavirus crisis. What have you had to do? And I know you had to close some of your resorts for a while. Most of them, I believe, are now reopened.
We are now fully open, yes.
Well, fully reopened now, so that's great. But what did you do during those months when you did have to shut down for a little while?
Well, one of the things that we ended up doing, even during the shutdowns, we maintained all of our full-time staff. Mm-hmm. We feel as though one of the most differentiating points at all of our properties is our attentive staff. And as you release that, then you're really not embracing them as part of your own branded family, nor are you preserving that attentive service for when the inevitable of guests returning come back. So it was a difficult thing to do when you really look at what's happened around the world with temporary shutdowns. But we did find a way to maintain our staff and continue to serve our communities. In Punta Cana, we were serving 600 to 800 meals a day, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. In the middle of the pandemic, in recognition of all of the frontline employees and first responders around the country in the U.S. and also in the UK and in Mexico, we created a program that we call Holiday for Your Heroes. Altogether, we gave away over 300 vacations to first responders and frontline employees, for them to take as a reward after serving so many people.
Wow.
So at the height of the pandemic, we were all about community. Our resorts, part of World Class Gourmet Inclusive, is having really fresh provisions. We have our own greenhouses. We grow our own vegetables at our properties. Well, continuing to do that and use those vegetables and give them out to our throughout our communities was a big part of it. As we saw to reopen, we recognized that having new protocols are necessary, but also part of those protocols, it's important that consumers feel as though they are safe, secure, and in a respite or reprieve from all of this mess that we all have to deal with wherever we are around the world. So we wanted to make certain that we're not putting tape on the floors and telling people where to stand and arrows to direct them in what areas. And instead, there are other ways of doing that. And it's just in things such as lobby design. Instead of having many settees next to each other, you just spread them out. So it doesn't look so cavernous or empty, nor so crowded. We did all of our protocols under something that we call peace of mind, because we believe that as a consumer, we all want to get away from it, but still have peace of mind that everything is being taken care of in these protocols, as well as for our own safety and for our own comfort. So with that, we also partnered with Living Well Labs as part of Delos. That is supported by both the Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic. We also partnered with Safety First Check and two other firms. And I think we have more protocols and are certified by more COVID and safety and cleanliness protocols than anyone else in the regions. But you can check out more on that on Peace of Mind on any of our websites. There's a banner for Peace of Mind and COVID protocols.
No, that's great. I know my viewers, my travel advisors want to know about that now, because they're kind of in the position of having to interpret all this stuff to their customers. And in that vein, you also have been extraordinarily supportive of the travel advisors, of travel agencies. Talk a little bit about the programs that you currently offer to advisors, especially your top sellers at all your Karisma brands. And do you expect these programs will change in the future as we emerge from the coronavirus crisis?
Absolutely. In fact, some of the things that we've been doing is we've been looking at how can we improve our travel agent direct support services. We've been making a lot of enhancements to our call center and our traveler support center. We are now offering expanded hours, almost 24/7 hours on support for our consumers and our travel agent direct. We're also offering new payment systems. We've had to make modifications to our cancellation, like everybody, and ensure far more flexibility. In addition to that, we've also expanded the coverage of our guest services and guest relations, both with travel agents and with guests direct, because as you can imagine, there's a lot more questions. There's a lot more hand-holding, and we want to be able to accommodate that. In fact, we're finding our booking activity is greater now than it was same time last year, but so is our cancellations. So for every booking, we have to have 4 to equal the 3 times cancellation rate. And most cancellations are not cancellations. What they are is rebookings.
Yeah, because they're going to go a little later. Although I got to tell you, when I was down in Cancun recently, I was like, it's not as busy as it might have been, but I was surprised and happy that business seemed to be coming back. And yes, a lot of these resorts, you have a certain, occupancy limits. I think it's 60% or something like that in the Riviera Maya and places like that. but people are filling it up. Americans want to go.
Absolutely. In addition to wanting to know more about what the experience is like now in the midst of COVID and how we provide peace of mind, there are two other things that we've been adding for our travel agent community and also our guests direct. And one is more packages that include end-to-end packaging from including ground transportation and so forth. So that when you get off the plane to the time you depart the property to reboard going home, everything's taken care of.
That's great.
Another thing is we've also announced a new alignment or partnership with Affirm. Affirm is a new credit opportunity to book travel on credit.
Wow.
And we just launched that on our website, and it's available on all of our channels. And that was actually last week.
No, that's great. And I know that's especially now, and people want to go away, but I'm seeing a lot of that, not a lot, but I'm seeing definitely programs like that coming into the industry finally. So that's good for you, and it's good for everybody. Let's talk a little bit. You saw the real focus right now on expansion it has been sort of Margaritaville, Nickelodeon. Anything else coming online very quickly in terms of, I hear some talk about you're going to be expanding in Jamaica, things like that.
We are. In Jamaica, we have a sugarcane plantation. We're looking at announcing which resorts will be under construction soon in sugarcane. But right now, what we have opening next year is a new Margaritaville Island Reserve resort, as well as villas in Cap Cana.
Right.
Adjacent to that, we'll be opening a new Sensatori, Tui Sensatori hotel. That is an adults-only experience, also in Cap Cana. Our Nickelodeon in Punta Cana will become twice as big, and that will be by November of next year. And then moving over to Riviera Maya, we have a new Margaritaville Island Reserve world-class gourmet inclusive property opening up, and that should be in September. Wow. And then we also have in June a new Nickelodeon family resort and agua park or water park that will be opening up in June. Those are the big developments right now. We're continuing to enhance the experience and the beauty of our Palafitos over-the-water bungalows in Maroma. And we're also expanding and adding new venues to our El Dorado resorts and the two Azul resorts, which is in Jamaica and Riviera Maya.
No, that's great. A lot going on. I know I can't keep track of it, all the brands and all the things, but it's amazing. And I've been lucky enough to experience a lot of your resorts, and they are amazing. Anything else you want to get out to our sort of 100,000 travel advisors out there that watch us?
I do. Travel is a fascinating area to our world, and it's something that we all need, and it's a pleasure to see Karisma and all of our brands continue to expand for what's inevitable, which is a stronger demand cycle. Right. We are seeing that in the latter half of next year, and we're seeing a ramp up that's actually starting in towards the end of Q1. We're seeing a ramp up month to month and quarter to quarter. So it's exciting, it's encouraging, and I think the world needs it.
Absolutely. Well, Bill, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us about all your Karisma brands. It's wonderful to see everything expanding, and your new resorts coming out, and of course your gourmet all-inclusive now taking it up a notch. So that you got even better. with that, with the serving and everything else. And I know from experience, you got a great product. And thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, James. And I'm going to see you at one of these openings, right?
I hope so. I will be down there. I've been going to Mexico a lot lately. I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.